Yeah, Julius was changing my microphone setup, and if anybody hears boom, 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 no heartbeat. Okay. All right. So put no pulse. So we've got. Oh, and I don't think you got one of these, Jenny. Just what you might want for future tech forums. So we've got the projector on. We're going to be connecting physically through the video cable. That just plugs into the side of your PC. We have network cables as well. If you're familiar with the Ethernet cable, that goes into the wall, and this is what you're going to get the fastest connection on. Okay, so we've got those plugged in. We will, and this is in the handout over there. Basically, if you're going to go through the physical cable, we'll want to hit the menu button. We'll want to choose the top one there, computer 1. Hit enter. So now it's just waiting on the PC to come up. So I will turn that on. The reason I do that, the machines are pretty good about, as they boot up, seeing what video is available to them. So it will usually automatically connect there and you're good to go. If your machine is asleep or if you haven't turned it off, sometimes you'll run into some things that may slow you down in your presentation. So if you do it this way, it's going to work most all the time, as I've found. So I'm going to, now my machine is up. I'm going to log in. Welcome. If you could pass that down to Carla. All right, so now we're up and running. Boom, like that. No panic. That's nice. So we're plugged into the network. We can browse the web. I'm going to do something real quickly here. As part of the audio-visual presentation, we need to connect to Google Hangouts. So I'm going to do that real quick here. And that's so the video portion of this will include what's on the screen. You don't need to restore. Hangouts here. And there's Julius inviting me in. I'll click to join. And I will share my screen. And then we can minimize that. Okay, there we go. All right. And
we tried doing screen sharing with one or two vendors, and it just not really effective.
Okay, we can take a look at that, later. Just let us know. We'll come see what's going on. Could be a network thing. Who knows? I'm not able to troubleshoot it for me. but thanks. And actually, we should probably do questions at the end so we can get through the material. That'd be fine. So here we are. We're attached to the projector. We have internet connectivity, as you saw. We are plugged into the Chronicle's local network, so if you need to get to files that exist on the network, you can do it there. There are websites that are only available internally. For instance, intranet.chronicle.com. You'd be able to get there from here if you need that resource while you're doing your presentation. The next part I'm going to show you a little about connecting wirelessly. That's not so much for here, but it's going to be handy if you're on your home network and you have a wireless network at home, or if you're, say, in a conference room that doesn't have a Ethernet cable, or for whatever reason you need to get on here wirelessly. That's the same with contractors that come in. We have a lot of people, vendors and things who we can't put on our local network. We have to abide by something called the payment card industry standards. Because we have credit card information somewhere in this network, we have a lot of security items that we have to follow. One of them being that contractors who come in can't get on our regular network if they're here. The other, I should point out, the actual Ethernet cables, the ports that they go into the wall, one of those regulations is that they're not supposed to be left live all the time unless there's an actual computer in there. This room gets enough stuff going on that most of the time it's still live, but for instance, if you need to use the Northwest Lounge and you want to use the Ethernet cable, you need to let HelpDesk know ahead of time, and we can make sure that it's active for you. And while I'm on there, it's a good idea, as I mentioned, to let HelpDesk know ahead of time, especially if you have an important presentation, and we can make sure that everything's running smoothly for you when you start. I can't emphasize that enough. As far as possible. I mean, and I understand there are times when this just came out of the blue, and that's fine. We'll hustle and get it done. But if you can give us a day or two, or I've even had people go, I'm going to need to do this 2 weeks from now, and we put it in the system so that we know to meet them there and help them out. Kind of like you with your NCP stuff with Jacques. Yeah.
I'd just like to point out that all our presentations are important.
Absolutely. So that some are more important than others, I guess. All right. So we're on our local network. We can browse the web, look at files on the network, get to. Why don't I just go there? I'll use Internet Explorer. So we'll go to. I don't know. Just make sure I spelled it right. There we go. Talk to me. Okay. Well, know what's up with that. We'll,
Maybe we can go over that in another section.
yeah, maybe we will. But you get the impression where we want to use the Ethernet cable if at all possible. Let's talk about wireless. We have a wireless network in the Chronicle. It's called CronGuest. We have a couple of separate ones. They all use the same password, but for instance, in this room, the connection can be kind of spotty on CronGuest. So we have one called Cron Multi-Purpose Room, and the actual access point is right back there. So you're always going to get a very good signal in here. So I will show you a couple of things. We want to make sure, let's see, we want to make sure that one, wireless capability is turned on, period. I'm using a Sony Vaio laptop. There are other brands of laptops that may look a little bit different, but the basics are the same. This icon allows you to turn the wireless functions completely off and back on if you need it. Sometimes it's a good idea to do that if you're not using the wireless, if you're using the Ethernet cable. It's a long geeky explanation, but it has to do with the IP addresses that we use on our internal network versus the ones that we use on our external network. And the wireless is pretty much being on like your wireless system at home. It's not, there's a wall between that and the Chronicle.
Did you pull that up from the little icon that looks like cell phone bars down there at the bottom?
No, it was from this one. And I can, let's see, we can add that, I think, to...
Can you get to that through the control panel? You needed to?
Not to this. I'll show you the control panel part. This gizmo here tells us the strength of the wireless connection and what network we're on. If you notice, we're on Cron Guest. Something I wanted to show you before I switch access points is, as you know, every 90 days, our passwords change with the wireless network as well. So, okay, you come into work, your wireless network has been, Cindy has sent out an email saying our wireless network password is changing. How do we get there to change that? The easiest way is go to Control Panel and Network, if I can find it here, Networking Sharing Center. You want to do Manage Wireless Networks. And if you right-click on Cron Guest, Properties, under Security, there's where you would put in the new wireless password. Cancel out of there. Now, as I mentioned, we want to switch from Cron Guest to the multi-purpose room access point back there. We can see that it's being advertised here. Oop. I will connect. It's probably going to prompt me for the password, because if you notice when we went to the network settings, we had not visited this one before. So now it's asking me for the security key, which this month is Beagle 2014. Do that. Okay. Location, we're on our work network. Good to go. All right. Excuse me.
Can you talk a little bit about that water bottle?
Believe me, I can. That'll little be part two. There's an infomercial coming up. So now we're on the wireless system. And I'm going to reach down here and physically unplug the network cable so that we're only on the wireless system. We're not plugged into the Chronicle's local network. So we can still surf the web, still get to the internet. Everything looks good. What can't we do, though? One thing is, we cannot, if we have network files on our network, like the F drive, or your L drive, or X drive, now that we're off the Chronicle's network, we can't get there. And I'll show you just a demonstration here with, for instance, we go to Intranet. Get that. Ah. Boom, can't be displayed. That's because we're not on the Chronicle's network. We're on just a Wi-Fi network that only gets us to the internet. So that brings me to And this is something you may do at home. So you're at home and you're connected to your wireless router at home. You're going, oh shoot, I need to get something off the internet, or the intranet, which is only available in this building. How do we do that? We join the Chronicles network. And we do that from something called VPN, stands for Virtual Private Networking. We have the VPN Access Manager. We've usually provided these for any Chronicle-owned laptops. If you have a personal laptop at home or machine that you want to do this with, let us know and we can provide you with the software. It's free and fairly easy to install. So I'll open that up.
So Robert, you can't do that through a desktop?
You can. Yeah, that's a whole, what I'm talking about here is if you have your machine at home and you don't have a machine here. That helps with, like, laptops. You've taken your laptop home. A lot of people, if you have a desktop, you can go to Citrix, remote.chronicle.com, use that to connect to the machine that you have here and control it remotely. That's good point. Thanks. So for this, we've already got a connection set up here for the Chronicle. Double click that, and it's going to ask your credentials, and it's just the same things that you use to, when you turn, for the PC users, when you turn your PC on. For the Mac users, it's when you log into your email or connect to the network. This will be the same password that you use there. So I'm going to do mine. And you'll notice some gobbledygook coming up here, bringing up tunnel. And this part it'll often take a few, minute or so sometimes to come out. Tunnel enabled. When we see tunnel enabled, we know we're connected to the Chronicles network. A word of advice here: if you're using a Chronicle machine that you brought home to do this, A-OK. We have virus software, the firewall's set up, we have everything looking good. If this is your machine at home that's not owned by the Chronicle, you actually need to fill out a form basically saying, I keep my computer updated with all the latest security patches, I have a firewall enabled, I have antivirus software. The reason I bring that up is because this computer is on the internal network of the Chronicle. If you have a virus on your machine at home, then it can get into the Chronicles network and wreak some havoc. So that's why we're a little bit tight on that. So I'm connected now. Now, if I want to get to the intranet, boom, there we go, ready to log in. As I mentioned, our passwords change every 3 months. If you're curious what the wireless password is going to be, let me log in here. Those are shown under Technology, Wireless Network Usage. I'm not going to open that up because this video is going to be available, I think, for the public in some situations. So this lists all the passwords we have throughout the year. So if you're curious, if you know the network password has changed, check there and you can find it. And as I mentioned, this is something you would not be able to get to from outside the Chronicles network. So I think I've covered everything for the PC. I'm going to show you how to do this on a Mac. I'm going to disconnect here. And again, with this, you can attach to files that are on the Chronicles network. There are commands that you can use to do it. Some people are comfortable with that. We can also, I've written plenty of custom batch files, which basically you connect to the VPN, you double click this icon I've created for you, and it will map your F drive, your L drive, all the things you need to get to. But that varies, per person and per department. So I'm going to disconnect here. Right. So now I'm disconnected from the Chronicles network. If I try to go to the intranet, I'm not going to be able to get there. So let's see what the differences are on the Macintosh. So one of the things I'll mention is that with most of the most of the Macs and a few of the newer VAIO laptops, there's not a space for an Ethernet plug to go in. So you'll need an adapter, which if it's we have plenty of them here. They tend to disappear, so we buy a whole bunch at once. So, and they vary depending on the model of Macintosh that you have. So I'm going to plug that in. I'm going to disconnect the cable from my PC. Now plug into the Mac. And I'm going to turn that on. While this comes up, I'm going to put this back in. And same with the Ethernet connections. The Macintoshes usually have some of them have a built-in Ethernet adapter. Some you'll need a little USB adapter to do it, and we have plenty of those as well. So there's me. I'm going to log in. And a little bit of housekeeping here. I'm going to need to log into Google Hangouts so Julius can share what's going on the screen here. So that'll be just a moment here. And there, Jay is inviting me. Boom. And by the way, I don't think I mentioned that first. This is probably going to take, we'll probably be out of here in 10 minutes or so. We'll definitely be under an hour. So there we go. Look good, Julius? All right, so now we've connected via our Ethernet cable. We can get to intranet. Boom, there we go. If we need to get there, we can go to files on the network. These are all the different places I can go on the network. I won't take you into each one, but it's, if you're a Mac user, you know how to get there. All right, and it's pretty much that simple for that. Connecting to the wireless network with the Macs, pretty easy. There's this symbol up here. Click there. That shows that I'm connected to the multi-purpose room. It's found all these others. I can go back and forth between, Cron Guest and Che Multipurpose. These are actually wireless networks that exist in other parts of the building, maybe across the street, so stay away from those. Anything that begins with Cron or Che, you're pretty good with. So I'm connected there. Now, VPN. Say I'm doing this from home, and again, I'm not plugged into the Chronicles network. So I'm going to disconnect my network cable. Boom, boom, right here. So we're flying without a net. So So now if I try to go to the intranet, see it's stalling out there. Again, that's because this is an internal server that we don't want to make available to the public. So we just stopped right there. It'll eventually time out for us. I won't make you wait through that. So I'm at home. I'm on my home network, my home wireless network, and I need to get into the intranet to check something, or I need to connect to files that I have on the network. This little gizmo here, that's our VPN connection. I think both of these are a little easier on the Mac. Both of these are built into the Mac, and so it works pretty well. The VPN client for the PC is a third-party application with it that we use. But again, it's free. So we're going to connect. It's asking me my name and password. Boom. Now we are connected. We can confirm we're connected. Look in here. Okay. We are connected for 7 seconds, 8, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Now, if we want to go to the intranet, boom, there we are, we can log in. Same with getting files that exist on the network. Do a Command K, and I can pick one of these many shares that I can get to. Now, this is kind of fun. We are able to use something called AirPlay that will allow you to connect to that projector wirelessly. So that's an Apple TV up there. We keep this little black box on top of there. We keep the remote over here. It's a very small remote, just a few buttons. I'll hit the menu item to turn on the black box. You'll see, you can't see from here, but there's a little white light on there in front, so you can tell it's been turned on. Okay. So this icon here, that's how I connect to the Apple TV. This is telling me right now I'm connected to, that's the name of the projector, and I'm doing that wireless, I'm doing that wired into the video adapter. So I want to project what's up there. So a couple things. You don't need to do this while you're plugged into the screen. I just want to show you that. I just want to show you how to do it, so you can see what I would normally do there. So I'll do that. Click connect. Now I'm going to unplug my video cable. Boom. And again, this is in the handout over here as to how to use the remote. I'm going to hit menu. I'm going to go to computer number 2, digital. Hit enter. And now, there we go. That's me. That's my my Macintosh being broadcast over the air through Apple TV. If you notice, it's a little, not as. I don't think that it's quite as clear looking, but it's a good thing to know. Now, you can do this the way I'm doing it here only from Macintoshes that were built in 2011 or later. There's some limited things you can do with older Macintoshes. For instance, you can send your iTunes stuff through the Apple TV. If you have iTunes movies or music in your iTunes, you can broadcast that through there. It doesn't, unless you're watching an iTunes movie, it doesn't do so well here. But there's third-party software that you can use for those older Macintoshes, and you can also use for the PC. It's called AirParrot. Really, the only difference in using it is this icon is green and looks like a little parrot. So, and it's a paid application. But if you wanted, if you want to try that on your PC, you're more than welcome to send us something, and we'll see if we can set you up. It's not quite as stable as this because this sort of comes with it, but I just want you to know that it's available if you're using an older Macintosh or a PC. And now I'm going to disconnect from the Apple TV. And by the way, when I'm going through the Apple TV, all the stuff about wireless and VPN, all that still applies. The Apple TV is just where this is getting displayed and how it's displayed. And I will another word about wireless. Did I mention there's sort of a limit as to how many people can be connected at once? It's not a hard and fast limit. It's just that our wireless network's been around for a while, shall we say, and it can. I would say if you've got more than 5 or 6 people in here using the wireless, you may want to let us know. Another reason to let us know ahead of time, because we've got that many machines on there. It's depending on what you're doing, it's going to start slowing down after a bit. If you let us know ahead of time, we can set up more Ethernet connections so everybody's connected and can be, have a fast connection. That'll be good. So I'm going to disconnect from our Apple display or AirPlay display. And now what we see is Apple TV itself. So I don't know if we want to watch a little Netflix or Hulu Plus, HBO to go, all kinds of cool stuff. But these are more for when you're at home. I don't think I'm going to be watching Disney Junior here, but you never know. Maybe it'll be a team building exercise. We'll watch cartoons one day. So that's how that works. We can watch Frozen. That might be kind of cool.
Red Bull TV.
Huh?
Red Bull TV?
No. Where's that? You're seeing things, man. We probably have to have a subscription, but had no idea. So apparently it's an extreme sports channel. Yeah. Red Bull sponsors a lot of X Games type stuff. Well, thanks, Steve. Now we know. Yeah. Okay. Huh? Do you? I only watch the Weather Channel. All right. So that's pretty much the basics of how to connect to the projector. A couple of high points. I highly recommend when you start this up, you start with everything turned off. Turn on the projector first. Hook up your PC or Mac, then turn the Mac on. I seldom see any issues when you do it that way. Usually run into that if say you've got your computer is asleep, you bring it in, you open it up and you plug it in. Sometimes it'll get a little confused as to what the video input is supposed to be. As I mentioned, we've got, these are important things here. This is how you use the remote to switch from one device to another. This is unique to that brand of projector up there. In some of the other conference rooms, we have a different brand, and the ones that are in there reflect the correct settings for that. It's just very minor changes. I've also put in here how to set step-by-step on how to connect to the PC and how to connect to Apple TV. I'm going to leave these in here. I do have some handouts for, if you want, like I say, I've got the step-by-step instructions here. If you want a copy to take with you, they're here. And this is basically, this is actually from the Chronoblog, I believe, a just basic protocol for audio-visual events. goes over a lot of the sort of non-technical things I'm telling you here. Basically, like let us know ahead of time what you need. Our cable there is VGA, so if you have somebody coming in who has a digital adapter, let us know so we can give them a VGA one. So I'll pass these around if you want. You have one?
Starting with me?
Starting with you. And if you've got your suggestions on further tech forums, you can pass those up. And we've got 15 minutes or so. So if you have any further questions about what we've covered here, have it on, have it, have at it.
In what instances would you want to use the Apple TV?
A lot of people just wanted some way to do it wirelessly. Say we have, two people who have to have the Ethernet connection, or we have all the Ethernet connections in use, and somebody walks in and they want to do it. The other thing is say if there's a vendor or a contractor who comes in, they may have that set up for themselves already, and it's easier than getting them onto the wireless, because there's a password for that, and it's a little more easier for them. But surprisingly, it's something people have asked for quite a bit, especially over in the editorial lounge and some of the developers in the Visual Studio here and back in the Scrum room. They use it quite a bit. It's cool. I think that started out with, we were trying to find projectors that would do this wirelessly, and it was so flaky, and you had to have special software on every machine, and it didn't always connect. So we have now a reliable way to connect wirelessly to the...
Part of the issue in the editorial lounge is where the computer would have to be in order to use the projector. Like it would have to be in a specific space, right?
Well, it would just need to be on the same wireless network. That's all you need. Like for instance.
You're not using the Apple TV?
Oh no. If you're using the Apple TV, I'm sorry.
If you're using a projector,
Mm-hmm.
you do it with a cord, right?
Right.
So you would have to have a computer in a specific
Yes.
place.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe that's why people...
Yeah, and you could do it you could be on the phone with somebody, and if they're in the building, then sure, they can...
No, I'm saying maybe that's why people, because they don't want to be just there in the room. Maybe that's
Yeah, like if they're in the next office over or whatever, they can do. Like for instance, if you noticed, we saw a couple of Apple TVs up there. I could from here start broadcasting something to, say, the Scrum room or some of the others. Usually if you don't see one of them that's available, it's usually because the Apple TV device is asleep to save power. And again, to get that back on, you just hit the menu button and it'll bring it right back on. I love their design, by the way, for the remote. I'm so tired, at home you've got the universal remotes and it's got about 1 billion things. Like, no, we got 3 buttons and a little way to yeah, I like that. So, anything else? Let's, Wendy?
That was my question.
Okay. Steve? You like what?
I don't like the typesetting.
Didn't figure. Well, thanks a lot, and I appreciate your comments on there to see what people might be interested in the future. And I think this is going to be, if somebody for some odd reason wants to see my face on TV again, Julie's is going to set that up. So again, thank you very much for coming.